It has been a couple of years since I filmed my planning and journaling routine, and I thought today I could take you along with me as I reach for my different books throughout the day. Because I am filming this, I acknowledge it's going to be a little idealized. I don't always reach for all of these books every day. It's pretty close to what my daily looks like as long as I have time. So I just got back from a morning walk. I walk my partner to the train station, and it's a pretty good 40 to 60-minute walk, depending on the route that I take home. And I like it because it's a nice opportunity for my partner and I to connect. And I typically take my coffee in a thermos, and then whatever I don't finish, I add to a cup when I get home. This is what's left of my coffee that I usually take in a thermos. Going for a walk with a cup of coffee has got to be one of my favorite morning rituals. I just really love coffee. The first thing that I usually do, if possible, is I like to open up my long form journal and do a little bit of journaling. This doesn't happen every morning. Sometimes if I have meetings, I will go straight to my meetings. But if I have time, and I do have time today, I do like to write in here. I treat this as like a stream of consciousness, way to kind of clear my mind before the day starts. So sometimes when I start my entries, they will be very simple. Like I'll just talk about how I was feeling that morning or how I was feeling yesterday. I might recount some events from the day before. Sometimes I talk about what I want to do today. And I find that the first page or so typically is like what I would equate to small talk, where you're just kind of getting the surface level things out of the way. And then usually once the small talk is done, I will go into whatever is, if something is really bothering me, that's when I'll start to dig into it. So sometimes these can be very light sessions. Sometimes they can get a little bit deeper. It just depends on the day and what's on my mind. So I'm going to open that up. In my last video, I showed you how I cut down my A5 Midori notebook into a traveler's notebook size. And I have been loving this book so much. I have been journaling every day since I moved into this book, and it's a really good reminder that something as simple as a notebook you really enjoy and a pen you really love writing with can upgrade your journaling experience and make you look forward to it. So prior to being in this book, I was using an insert that I didn't really love writing in. It just, the usual complaints. It wasn't laying flat. And usually I don't mind so much when it doesn't lay flat, but this one was particularly stiff. And I just didn't really love the paper. So I didn't really, I was happy to be done that insert. But this is a pretty thick book. I think this is going to last me several months. You can see I cut it myself. It doesn't look perfect. I'm fine with that. And I added a sticker since last week. This is my little lo-fi ghostie that Laura from XOXO Lorraine designed for me. I love her so much, and I think it's fitting that this ghostie is holding the TN that this book is housed in. I love the sticker. I was looking for the perfect place for it, and I think this is the perfect place. And I may add more as time goes on, but I generally don't like to decorate my covers too early, because if I get sick of it, then I'll still have to use the book. But if I kind of decorate it as I'm in it, sometimes closer to the end of it, then I guess less chance that I'll get sick of it because I'll be almost finished the book. Because I've been writing in this so much, I've already written 2 pens that I inked for this month dry, and we're not even 2 weeks into May. So that is also very motivating. So today I'm going to use my Pilot Custom 743. This is an FA nib. And yeah, I'm just going to get started. So I'm going to blur out these pages, but I have been really loving this margin more than I expected. So I've been kind of using it to write my entries, and I do sometimes like to add some stickers into my pages just because I have so many stickers, and I've just been finding it to be kind of a nice way to start my pages. So I've been enjoying trying to pick stickers that I think will match the ink that I am using, which is honestly something that I have never paid attention to before. But I have been just trying to be more intentional and mindful in my journals, and finding that doing these little things or paying attention to these little things are bringing me joy right now. Sometimes I don't want any barriers to getting into my journal. I just want to open it up and start writing, and all I want is a notebook and a pen. And other times I want to add a little whimsy or a little color, and I think that's just the stage that I'm in right now. So I've got a bunch of stickers in this traveler's folder, and I've just been working my way through these stickers. Sometimes I also pull from my other TN. This has my sticker release insert. I would keep it in here, but then it would get too bulky. So that's one drawback of having such a thick insert, like a thick book, but that's fine with me. I think I'm just going to pick some stuff. And these are some of my current little PET tape stickers. These are from LCN. I don't know the name of it, but these are from LCN. And I got a sample roll of the circles and the washi tape strips. And I've just been adding them in as I feel like it. So the ink in here is the Athena ink Renga, I think it is, which is like a brick red color. And this was a sample that Tiffany from Talksmot gave me over a year ago, and I'm just finally getting to trying out the ink now. It's a beautiful ink, and I think I can either go monochrome and use some red, but I think I'm in the mood to use some of these green colors. So I'm just going to grab a few of these and place them wherever. And maybe I have these date stickers, and yeah, so I'll grab one for this day. I usually put them at the top, but sometimes I just put them wherever. I think today I'm just going to put it at the bottom. Since I was talking about going for a walk, I think I'll use some of these little stickers. I received this sticker sheet from Wonder Pens as a part of a little thank you for running one of their workshops. I cannot remember. I think it might be Sue Tellier. I just really like them. I love that there's a bunch of different walking or running. So I think I'm going to use the little elephant. And maybe this little pig. And I've got some of these cute stickers. I got these in Japan. I think these are from Daiso. And I think I'm just going to use some of these little like swirly things. Little star. I usually don't think too hard about what I choose. I just want to use up my stickers. Sometimes I do 3 pages, sometimes I do just 2. So I'm just going to decorate this for now, and then if I do more, then maybe I'll add some more stickers. Just like how you might with small talk, it's that kind of like, hi, how are you? How's the weather? That kind of thing. I usually start off with just what time it is, where I am when I'm writing this entry. And sometimes I add the day. So I have like the weekday. So it's the 7th, but it's the Thursday. And that's usually enough to kind of get me started. And then I can get into more. Okay, so I am done. Just gonna make sure this last bit is dry. Okay. So I'm done my journaling for the morning. Now I'm gonna grab my planner and we are going to get going on our day. So I'm gonna move the camera around so you can see a little closer, and I will see you shortly. Okay, we are trying this again because my phone died, so I needed to charge it for a bit. We were talking about my planning routine, and so what I was saying was I open up my Midori Hibino. So this is my planner for 2026. The first thing that I do is update my health tracker, which I've already done. And as soon as I'm done that, I will just put my blotting paper here to make sure that I catch any of the ink that hasn't dried. And then sometimes I will go to my weekly spread and double check my calendar. And then I will kind of cross-reference that with my digital calendar, because sometimes things get added on after I've put this together and I don't always get to this right away. Actually, for the sake of memory keeping, I'm going to add in just to capture a family dinner that we had. Okay, so we are on Thursday. These are the meetings that I have for the day. So I'm just going to go ahead to the actual Thursday, which I use this bookmark. This is the bookmark that comes with the Potter Stroll cover. It was actually on Wednesday, but I moved it to Thursday, and I will add those meetings onto the side here. So I'll just color them in. And sometimes I'll just make notes on the meetings themselves. So like, as an example, one of these is in person, one of these is a new client consult. So it's just a good reminder for me that I need to do a little bit of prep for some of these meetings. And then I will go ahead and make my to-do list. So I will double check with all the things that I didn't do from yesterday and recopy them out. Okay, so that is all that I have for now for my to-dos. And that's really all I do for planning. It's pretty simple. So again, sometimes I'll go back to my weekly and I'll just double check things like what I have planned for dinner that night in case there's anything I need to take out of the freezer. We are actually doing what I was planning on cooking on Wednesday tonight because we had a dinner, an impromptu dinner on Wednesday. So this is signal to me like maybe take something out of the freezer to make sure it's defrosted for dinner. But that's kind of it. And then I have my to-do list. And then if I have any meetings where I take notes apart from client meetings with confidential information, that goes in a different notebook because that notebook gets locked away and then it gets shredded. So this is more like non-confidential kind of meeting notes or work notes. That's really all I do to get started on my day. So I just like having this because I know when I have my meetings, and therefore I know when I have unstructured time to do other things. And it kind of just helps me wrap my head around the day and where to kind of place my energy levels. So I know that this will take the most energy for me. And so I will leave things around here for maybe repetitive work, maybe admin work, responding to emails, that kind of thing. I forgot to mention, these are the 3 mild liners that I use consistently throughout the year. Instead of changing these up by month, I just keep the same 3 colors, and they each designate a different area in my life. For example, I am working on a UX research project, so anything related to that work is this gray color. This is mainly anything related to my therapy and coaching practice. And then this is personal life stuff. So runs that I do, workouts that I do, family events. We actually have a family event happening this Sunday. So I'm just going to put family dinner. And I like to do personal events in this marker color because in case it gets canceled, I can just kind of color it out and make it more of like a blob. But if it does happen, then what I usually do is I grab my pen and I just outline it to kind of indicate that it was done. There's no real reason why I do that other than I just like that it stands out a little bit better. So I always have these 3 nearby when I'm planning. I have my vanishing point. This uses a document ink, and since the beginning of the year, I have had Diatramentis Document Brown in here, and I've just been really happy with it, so I keep refilling it, and it means that I don't have to clean this pen out as much. I also have my Traveler's Company brass pencil, and I use this all the time to draw lines, things like that. Yeah, I like to keep my planning pretty minimal, so that's all I do. So now that that is done, I will go ahead with my day, and I will check in with you again when I open up another book at some point, possibly at the end of the workday. It is several hours later. Normally at this time I would be getting ready to make dinner, but I wanted to make the most of the daylight, and I'm going to do a few things that I typically do after dinner. The first thing I'm going to do is open up my planner, and honestly, I haven't really touched this since this morning, which is kind of crazy, but that's just the kind of day it ended up being. So I'm just going to take a look at what I was able to do today and then figure out what I need to move to tomorrow. There are a lot of things that I was not able to get to today, but that's okay. I can always move these things to tomorrow. So I'll do that tomorrow morning. This is really what my pages look like generally through the week. Sometimes this list gets longer. Sometimes I take notes over here. Oh, there is something I want to make note of, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for today. So there's quite a lot that I still need to do, but I might even get to some of this after dinner. So I'm not going to move them over to Friday until tomorrow. And sometimes I'll also just take a quick peek at my schedule for the next day so that I can kind of wrap my head around what kind of day it's going to be. So I know that the morning is going to be busier, and that means any kind of unstructured time for some of these other tasks will have to be done either in the morning before my first interview or in the afternoon. I have thought about using this column for time blocking before, so proactively kind of setting aside certain times of the day to do certain tasks. I don't know. I've tried time blocking in my Google Calendar before, and it just never really worked out for me, so it kind of felt like that I was sort of wasting my time, or just felt like extra effort to plan to do things when I didn't really follow my own plan. So I don't know if I will. So page is looking pretty blank, but as I've shown in other videos, I do eventually fill them up with other things. So not concerned at all. So I'm going to put away my planner. That's really it for today. Yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do is update my 5-year journal. I've been trying to keep up with this on a more regular basis as opposed to at the end of the week. And this is a new cover for my 5-year. It is a tab and tannin custom cover that Mitch, the owner, made for me. I can talk about it more in another video. He reached out to me and offered to make me a cover, and I requested a trifold Louise Carmen style cover. And when I received it, I initially thought I was going to use it for 2 A5 size notebooks, but I tried it out and I didn't actually like how that felt. So that was good learning for me. And I realized because it was a bigger book, it actually would be perfect for my 5-year journal. And I had mentioned in my stationery regrets video that I've been struggling to find a cover that I really connect with, and I adore this cover. It is a natural leather. I believe this leather is made in Australia. It's very nice and thin, which I love because this is quite a thick book already, so I really wanted something thin. And what I love about it is that I can add all these little extra charms to the cover. And so I think that has elevated my experience with my covers. And I think this is it. This is the cover that I will keep with this 5-year until I finish the book. And if I get another A5 5-year, then I think I'll be more than happy to use this cover again. And it does have strings as well. So if I do in the future want to add inserts instead of use it for one book, then I can do that. There's this sort of flap here, and that has enabled me to slide my cover just this way so I don't have to use the strings. Because it's meant to fit A5 sized books, I love it, because I know with the Louise Carmen style, those don't really fit true A5 size. So I love that, like, this is in the center. I actually requested no eyelets or grommets because I prefer this look over having the grommets personally. And I've just added an earring as well as a charm that I got from Traveler's Factory in Japan. And then on the side here, I just added some of my additional purse charms that I have repurposed as journal charms. So this was actually attached to this, but I honestly found it a little too heavy. And I much prefer just having these two on my regular journal. And I think this just works so well with the maroon cover. So I am going to go ahead and update my entry from for yesterday. Okay, so that is it for now. I think I'm going to print a picture after I wrap this up because I need my phone to grab a photo. This is a day that we were celebrating a milestone birthday for one of my family members, and I've been trying to be a little more relaxed about adding ephemera and photos into this journal because I am in the second last year, and I think that I'm okay now with this getting a little bit fluffier, especially with a cover like this that I think has tons of room to grow. So I think I'm going to start adding some more photos because a lot of the right sides of my pages tend to be quite blank. Later tonight, I'll come back and do today's entry. This is my beautiful 5-year cover. I really love it, and I really think this is the one. Let me know if you have any questions about this. I would be happy to talk about this more in a future video. I will say, after having this custom made cover that fits my A5 Hobonichi 5-year, which is a book that I've typically had a lot of difficulty finding a cover for, I am so thrilled, and I just feel very at peace now with this cover. So I'm looking forward to seeing this patina over time. It has already started to age a little bit, and I love that I can kind of add some little extras onto this now and just make it even more personalized to me. Thank you, Mitch from Tab and Tannin, and I will leave Mitch's information down below in case you want to check out his products. But he's a very talented leather worker, and I feel very grateful and appreciative that he custom made this cover for me. Okay, the last thing that I think I'm going to do is I'm going to print some photos for last week's entry. I am a tiny bit behind. I need to catch up on last week, and we're almost finished this week. So something that I think has been helping is I've been kind of breaking up how I approach this. In the past, at the end of the week, I would open up my phone, gather my photos, and then do my entry all at once. Because I've been kind of falling behind, and sometimes I just don't have as much time on Sunday as I expect to have, I've been kind of printing the photos and leaving them tucked in here so that when I have time to catch up on my weekly overview, then I already have it started, so it doesn't feel like I'm starting from scratch. So I've got my Canon, this is the Q20 photo printer or sticker photo printer. And normally I use my phone to print photos, but because I'm filming this video on my phone, I thought I would try and see if I could actually print photos using my iPad instead. I've just got my iPad over here, and I've downloaded the Selfie app, and I'm just going to go ahead and turn this on, and we're going to see if I can print a photo. Okay, so that worked out pretty well. This is a Superior Labor A6 portfolio. Last year I used it for housing my planner, and this year I use it for my Canon Selfie, so I have extra photo paper in here, and then this just fits the Canon Selfie, so it's just a little extra protection. And then I have my photos that I want to talk about for this week. So I'm just going to tuck it in here. I have this paper just in case I want to do like a tip in or something. And I will come back to this maybe later tonight or over the weekend. It just depends on timing, but at least I have this done. So I just feel like when I come in to catch up, I feel like I've already started, which I think is helpful for motivating me to stay on track with this book. The very last thing I'm going to do before I wrap up and make dinner is I'm going to add an entry to my coconut journal. Currently, I'm using my Sailor Pro Gear Slim, and this is the Line Friends Brown Bear. It's one of the first sailors that I ever got back in 2023. I currently have Diamine Vermilion in here. So after I finished Tacha Sushi, I switched over to this one. Okay. That is all for my time in today's journals. I hope you enjoyed getting a glimpse into my routine and how I incorporate planning and journaling into my day. Something like this I reach for on an as needed basis, and I am finding that as time passes, I'm not reaching for this multiple times throughout the day as much as I was when I first started the journal. But I do like to always keep it near me, and I do tend to add entries every few days or so when there's something that is on my mind and I feel like I need to get it out. So today I talked about how we're thinking about applying to be fosters, dog fosters. How do you call it? We are completing a dog foster application. So Coconut was originally a foster dog that we immediately fell in love with and wanted to adopt. I don't know how it'll go. I think we just wanted to wait until we were ready to open up our home again to another dog, and we are feeling optimistic that we have the space and we have the means to care for another dog. So I was just kind of writing about my feelings about that. And then as for my planner, you saw me work through it at the beginning, and then I really didn't open it up or use it again till the end of the day. That's honestly kind of how it's been going for me, and it comes and goes in waves. Sometimes I'm reaching for my planner all the time, and sometimes I'm barely reaching for it at all. Lately, my to-do lists have been pretty short, and so I haven't felt like I've been juggling as much as I have in the past. But one of my projects is going to start getting pretty busy soon, so I'm either going to be leaning into my planner even more to keep me on track, or it's going to be one of those scenarios where I just have like one task to do each day, and I'm not really going to need a planner to do that. I'm going to need a space to brainstorm or take notes in, and if it's for my work project, then that goes in a separate notebook because it's confidential data. So the Hibino is still going strong. It just looks a little empty, but I wanted to give you a very realistic view of how I use it. And actually, I think maybe this weekend I'm going to do a little more study, and I will be glad that I have so many empty pages to fill up with whatever I'm reading. So yeah, that is everything from me today. Let me know what you think of this type of video. I've done a few of them over the years, but I'm always curious to hear your thoughts as I experiment with different types of videos. All right, I am gonna go make dinner now. We are having chow mein, and I'm excited. I love noodles. Let me know what you're having for dinner. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon in the next video.